Well, good afternoon and welcome to The Rewind Show. Hashtag 98 in the series of The Rewind Show. And of course, in partnership with Terrace Cult, who are going to be teaming up with us tomorrow afternoon when we take on Neath FC from South Wales, which we're looking forward to. Lee Trundle's in town, the gang's in town, and they're coming to Borough. How you doing, Brent?
I'm all right. Quite frustrated a little bit. Well, in fact, frustrated a lot with things that's been going on. But listen, we said it before. It's a story of Bacup Borough, but I don't think I've ever had a pre-season like we've had a pre-season this year for a long, long time. In terms of skeletons jumping out the cupboards, things not working to plan, people not being available. It's been an absolute, it's been horrendous, really. But we'll go into it when I'm on the show, later on or whatever. But yeah, I'm all right. It's just another chapter in Bacup Borough, basically. That's how it is. I'm
going to say last season you had the same problem where first 3 or 4 games were bare boned, and it looks like it was pretty much going to be a repeat of last season at the moment.
Well, we are. I mean, we have been through pre-season. It's been horrendous. We've not. I'll tell you now, not one game. We haven't had. I'm not, as you know, I'm not a person to have lots of pre-season games for several reasons. I think sometimes they get farcical, and they are farcical. And I mean, when you look at right at the start of pre-season with everybody's like advertising who they've got and this, that, and the other, and then a few weeks into pre-season, you get clubs. We're looking for games now because we've been let down by that team. They can't raise a team. They can't do this. They can't do that. They've got injuries, which is right. It happens. So clubs are pulling out of pre-season friendlies, and teams are being left high and dry because they've kind of booked them early. I don't do that. I just sit back. I'm not really bothered about the pre-season. I know we have to have them. I'm not really bothered. I've just pick me games who I think that, just 3 or 4 and just nice and bonny and take it from there. But I think really the games that we've had and we've got penciled in for this close season has been, I knew they'd be good. I mean, Charnock Richard, I feel that should not have been put in when it did, because we'd only just come back and we were too soon. We're too soon, and we should never have put that one in. But Charnock Richard as a club and a competition and against you, if it had been a bit later in the calendar, it would have been a good pre-season to have. Ramsbottom, obviously, last week, that were a good test and a good fixture to have when I put it in. And obviously, our opponents tomorrow, Neath Town, coming up from South Wales with some ex-pros in the ranks. And usually what I do when I'm pitching these, I usually have a tough game before, which is our last one before the season starts. But what's frustrating about everything about pre-season this time is, you think about how far we've come as a group, but we hit pre-season, and for one reason or another, the group's not been. Don't get me wrong, the group's all re-signed. They're still in contract. They're still there. They're still in contract. They're still our players. They'll still be here at some point in the season. But for one reason or another, the team's not been together. The squad's not been together. So we've not been together. So a lot of, from start of pre-season to even to today, right on the peripheral of a game tomorrow, it's just horrendous. And I'm just so frustrated. It's so frustrating because, you've got Nigel that's working on things, like we're trying to work on things. And then you've got You've got Ryan Russell, who's done well with the fitness side of things, and Jimmy Petruzzi. But we're training, we're coaching a lot of the players that once the season settles down, majority of them, I'm not saying all of them, but majority of them won't even be around our first team. No. They're kind of way off, if you will. Some of them aren't. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about everyone. I'm not. There is some good lads that have come in that we've got there, but it's just so frustrating. It's like tomorrow. It's our last pre-season game before we go into the league season, and straight away you can't pick a really strong side. We're not going to go into tomorrow's game with a strong side, and then you look at it what we've got for the start of season, and one thing that absolutely has infuriated me the last couple of weeks, and I mean infuriated. If anybody said this to me, what I'm going to say now, I have absolutely gone off the scale and blinking hammered them, because all I'm getting is, oh, we need to get off to a good start, don't we? We need to get off to a good start. And I'm thinking,
that old cliche.
Well, I'm not being funny. If you want to take your blinkers off and have a look what we're dealing with at the minute.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous statement. They can see what we're dealing with, and we're dealing with it at the start of the season. There's no two ways. It's all right looking at the fixtures and saying, oh, fixtures are this, that, and the other. Well, no. As far as I'm concerned, it's a new season. Whatever happened last season, whoever finished at the bottom last season, you can rest assured, right, won't be finishing at the bottom this season, right? No. They'll strengthen. Everybody will strengthen, right? Now, what will happen is, just because on the face of it, like, for instance, I won't name any clubs' names because it's been a bit disrespectful. But when they're saying and they're looking at the fixture and saying, oh, that's a winnable game, that's a winnable game, that's a winnable. Well, how do they know? This season's a different season.
Not in this league.
Exactly. It might have been a winnable game last season, right? When you're sitting and playing, you know what group they've got. But during the close season, they've obviously recruited. Yeah. Some will have gone, some will have come in.
It's like if you take Runcorn Town as a perfect example. Looking at who they brought in and the management who's gone into that club after it all went to rat's poo with Matt Barnes and co. They've brought some really good players in. There's no way they're going to be near the bottom. No
exactly. Chance. No, they won't be. They won't be. And this is what. But people are so dumb. I mean, honestly, I'm stuck for words with them, because I'm a manager. I'm sat at this side. I'm seeing what I've got, and I'm seeing what I've got at the start of the season. Yeah. Now, I'm not throwing the blinking white flagging or anything like that, but I know that we will be nowhere near where we expect to be.
It's square pegs in round holes to kick off.
Exactly. And we if you want to play Bake Up, now's the time to play us, because at the end of the day, we haven't got the players are signed. They'll be back, but we're not going to get the benefit of our team, what I would class as our team, as a nucleus, a group of players that have been doing so well, and we've worked hard together, and we've obviously achieved so much together. Exactly. So we're not going to have them back as a collective. Well, a few weeks into the season, which is so frustrating for me as a manager, right? And especially when a few weeks ago the players are saying, we really want to give it a go this time. We want to try and win the league. Well, to win the league, as Pilkington showed you last year, they started well at the beginning of the season and momentum stayed with them all through to the end of the season. And it weren't like they weren't running away with it. They were still, it were close, as you know. And we were involved in that because it could have gone to Chariton very easily. But my point being, yes, to win a league or try to win a league, you've got to get off to the best possible start. But to get off to the best possible start, you've got to be able to have your group available. And unfortunately, we haven't. The only bonus we've got this year that we didn't have last year, and I said this in the changing room the other night at Campion, the only bonus we've got is last year we didn't have all our, if you take our strikers, We didn't have our main strikers, and Kyle Siddall was out for 6 weeks, was out on a suspension for 6 weeks, right? This year, we haven't got all our, but we've got Kyle Siddall, which we didn't have Kyle Siddall last year.
Yeah. But that's the only bonus.
That's the only bonus. I mean, even it's that bad, right? And I've been, between us, myself, Nigel, and Ryan Russell, between us, we've been recruiting and getting people in and speaking to people. But it's like you're getting, they want to come in, they're coming in. For instance, I'm not going to mention names here, but the Wonder Kid to start with. We're all planned, all sorted that he would be. Toby's not available, first couple of games or whatever.
Yeah.
So who would lead our attack? Wonder Kid.
Perfect.
I find out yesterday. Already, I thought, well, I know where we'll have goals. Find out yesterday, he must have got sent off last season playing for the team he were playing for last season, which was Saturday football, and he got 2 yellow cards, which would have sent it. So obviously he's got 2 yellow cards in one of his last games, so that's a suspension. So he will not be able to participate in any football until that team who we played for last season, right, until they have played 2 games. The problem you've got with that as well,
when do they kick off?
Well, exactly. They probably don't kick off when we kick off. There's only blinking North East counties and blinking and Tool Station and a couple more that are kicking off on 29th. Blinking, it's middle. Probably another couple of years, we'll be kicking off when we'll end season in May and we'll start season in June. It's getting that crazy. But the trouble is, these clubs, like I said, like you've just said, when do they kick off? Well, I'll guarantee they don't kick off on the 29th.
No.
So straight away,
it could be beginning of September.
Well, it could be. At the end of the day, we can't play him. So,
by that time, Toby's back.
By that time, Toby's back. Yeah, but that's another setback. So you've gone out. We've done our work. We've prepared. We think we're right. We're no problem, and then you get that setback. And then we signed another player who were at Bradford City, who got released at Bradford City, and then he fell out of a bit of love with football. He has played at a couple of clubs. I'm not sure if he hasn't been at Avro as well, but he fell out with football, so he just it might have been Prestwich Chase, I'm not sure. But he you saw a bit of him last week against Ramsbottom. He looks every bit of a player, and he'll do the business up top. So he's another one where we thought, right, well, we've covered that. This lad's a good lad. He'll come in here and he'll do what he'll get the shirt and he'll do the business. Then I find out, this is what I mean. Then I find out he's not available first match, but he's available second match. I think, what are we doing?
Hey, it's a good job you're not playing these players, though, because we could be ending up with getting whacking fines. It's a good job you're pretty, shit hot when it comes to the due diligence of it.
Well, that's part and parcel. You've got to check it. You've got to check out with FA, because when it's a new season and you're starting with new players, you don't know what the situation's been, where they've been from the season before and how they've ended. Like if you take the Gareth Wager situation, he picked up a booking in the cup final in the Macron one. He picked up a booking, and that took him to 16 for the season. So it gave him another suspension, which he has to start this season. So if you think about Gareth, if he weren't coming back to Bake Up and he went and signed for somebody else and they didn't do the due diligence and Gareth never told them, they'd be playing him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Talking to defenders, gonna just move on slightly. New signing. Watched him last weekend. Malachi Clark from Chariton. Cracking player.
He's a good player. He is a good player, and he proved he's a good player. But if you'd have watched him on Tuesday night, you'd have watched him on Tuesday night, you wouldn't have been saying what you're saying now. Yeah, but listen. He's a good player. What I'm saying is about you. I wouldn't have brought this up, but obviously you said cracking player, and I'm not going to be I'm not going to be two-faced when basically I witnessed things what I were witnessing on Tuesday night, not just from Malachi, but from quite a few players on that football pitch. And there are things happening that you wouldn't expect to happen in an under-10s team. You know, I mean, take the Malachi situation. You know, we have a way we play from the back, and in the first half, every time he had the ball, he was playing a pass that was going inside, and it wasn't getting to its destination. And obviously, because he were on last line of defence, every time he gave that ball away, they were having a free shot at goal.
Yeah.
So, and you know me, I'm not going to let.
And the worst thing about you don't like inside balls.
Oh, do you think? Listen, let's talk about an inside ball, right? If you're passing an inside ball from outside 3 yards there to inside, where it's a simple pass, I ain't got a problem with that, because you can direct your pass and the chances are it will get to its destination. Yeah. If you're going to try and knock an inside ball 15 yards or 10 yards, right, and you don't make it a pinpoint accurate pass and it gets intercepted or given away, it's straight down gully of you. You're in trouble. You know, you don't do them. There's times and places to execute that scenario. You know, would you play an inside ball when you're at edge of the box to inside your box? Of course you would. You know, I'm talking in an attacking third. Of course you would. But if you're on back line and you're playing an inside ball to get an inside ball right across your back line and you don't get it inch perfect, where's it going? It's right in front of your goal.
Yeah.
So majority of their shots, what they were having, blinking heck, and it was like when we were at school and you were playing. 3 and in, and you were just you and the goalkeeper. Well, that's how it was like for Campion at one point. It was like, we've got the ball, we've played it, and then they're having a blinking shot at goal, and you think, what's going on? What we doing?
And as we know from last season and the way that they've progressed is, they don't need a second invitation, do they?
Not at all. You know, we knew. Listen again. I say about the games I picked.
Picking good games.
Picking good games, and I knew it would be good. And I'm not going to take anything away from Campion. I mean, I don't know why. Listen, I love the people up there, and by the way, they're asking where you were, right? So we're close to Campion. They're good people. Although Mrs. Physio won't like me, but she didn't like Dave last year.
Wow, have you been upsetting them? Have you been upsetting them up there in Yorkshire?
Not really upsetting them, but I can't believe it. So let's talk about this one then. So we'll talk about this, right? So why do people listen? If you get knocked with a ball, no, seriously, if you get hit with a ball, momentarily that ball hits you, or if you head a ball and you hit it wrong, how many times have you, when you're playing days, when you've headed a ball and you've headed it on top of your head, and you think, bloody hell, and for minutes you're dizzy.
Yeah. But then you get your bearings and get back into position.
Correct. Does that mean you're bloody concussed?
No, not at all.
Correct. Right? You're dizzy.
Yeah.
This is my point, right? This is my point. So, dizzy doesn't mean automatically you're concussed. So, during the game, Lewis has took a whack off the ball in goal, has taken a whack off the ball. He's gone down, he's needed treatment. Our physio trots onto the pitch, goes to see him, treats him, not a problem, right? Comes back off the pitch, I'm stood in the technical area, minding my own business, watching what's going on, and then I see our physio over in their technical area, talking to Mrs. Physio, in their technical area. And Mrs. Physio, who's not been on the pitch, he's reported to him and he says he's a bit dizzy. So he's reported to Mrs. Physio. He says he's a bit dizzy. Right, so okay. Mrs. Physio, in the technical area, says to him, I think he should come off. So I'm what?
You know,
So I
you know
listened to
that's
this.
red rag to a bull, were you?
So I'm like, well, I'm like going, what? Well, so I turned around to my physio. I said, just a minute, are you qualified to do this job? Bearing in mind he's a policeman.
Yeah.
I said, are you qualified to do this job? He went, yes. I said, well, why are you having a
What are you taking
conversation?
advice from her for?
What are you having a conversation with that technical area for? I said, so she's butting in by this time. So I've gone to her, hang on, Mrs. Physio,
Who do you
have you been on that pitch and assessed the lad? Well, no, but he's just told me that he's dizzy. I went, so what? That doesn't mean he's blinking concussed. He's dizzy. So by this time, we shout on to Lewis, are you all right? And he's going, yeah, I'm okay. Next thing, this debate's going on. He pulls a great save off, but doesn't hold it. So they're bench, rest of them, having a bit of banter because we get on with him. Yeah. Hey, Brent, if he hadn't have had concussion, he'd have held that. You know, just like... But the fact of the matter, where I'm thinking, where are these people coming from? So this woman, Mrs. Physio, who hasn't even been on the pitch, is trying to tell my physio that he should be coming off. Well, if we're going down that road, then every time that somebody gets hurt, then the easiest thing is we'll go to physio. Physio, you better get your goalkeeper off. We might have a chance of winning. You know what I mean? So anyway, cut long story short from that. So end of the game, yeah, we're still feeling a bit groggy and dizzy. So what does he do? He goes to the hospital. But I knew, seriously, because when he came off, I did what we always did in the olden days, you know, the old treatment, how many fingers have I got? Yeah. Follow my fingers, do all this, are you all right? You know, everything. Obviously, he needed to go to be checked out. He's gone and spent 5 hours in A&E at Fairfield, right, when he's got back. Yeah. They told him in A&E, you have not got concussion.
No.
So for your information, Mrs. Physio, he ain't got concussion. Well, and I knew he didn't have concussion.
She's probably got him flapping.
Well, I don't know what she had, but he, blinking our physio's listening to her, who hadn't even gone on and treated him. So he's gone and spent 5 hours in A&E at Fairfield, and then they've said to him is, listen, you've got a mark on your eye. We think you might have marked your eye. I want you to go to Rochdale. So he had to go to Rochdale to have his eye checked out, right? But the moral of the story is, no concussion. They said, just monitor yourself over the next 48 hours. You might still feel a bit sick and a bit dizzy now and again, but there's no signs of any concussion.
So right? that couple with the defeat wasn't a good night at the office on Tuesday.
Well, no, but well, it weren't a good night at the office. But you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, why are you busy? I get there's protocols and I understand it, but what are we going from one extreme to other when somebody just feels a bit of, oh, you got concussion, oh, you better not play for 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
We'll end up with no team.
Honestly, it's blinking screwball stuff. I half expected he hadn't got concussion, and it was sent by the hospital. No concussion. So, if you're watching, I think he's going tomorrow for Neath Town. Have you heard of him?
Yeah. Oh, Neath Town?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming up to us, aren't they? They're making a trip.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be goaling for him tomorrow. So...
You are pulling my leg, aren't you?
No, mate. I'm serious. He's no goalkeeper, so they can have. But there's no problem. He could play with concussion because we've no strikers.
We'll talk about Neath Town now, actually, because I think we've got quite a few people tuned in from South Wales and who are going to be coming to the game. I know nothing about Neath Town. Nothing. Do you?
I know they're South Wales based. I know they're sponsored by our fantastic sponsors, Tourist Gold.
And they're a decent side.
I know they're a decent side. I know they've got a couple of ex-pros playing for them. One is ex-Swansea City striker, Lee Trundle. But I think I'm going to negotiate with their manager on the day of the game. If they're wanting our goalkeeper Lewis, then I'm saying we want Lee Trundle. Yeah, no, I'm only joking. Any of our strikers that's listening to this, that's not listen. At the end of the day, any strikers that's listening to this, a bit of banter, just put the ball in the net. That's all we ask you to do because we don't see the only goal we scored in pre-seasons come from our right back, Aidan Huse.
Yeah.
So that tells you all you need to know. So they've got Lee Trundle and a lad called player Andy Robinson. Remember, he played for Swansea and Leeds United and Shrewsbury Town. So yeah, it'll be a. I'd like to say it'll be a good test, but with half of our team not even being available, I'm not too sure it will. But we'll see.
Sure, be, and hopefully a decent crowd as well. As you said, being sponsored by the partners Terry's Cull. Steve and the gang, and they'll be up there having a few beers and hopefully enjoying a good afternoon with us.
Yeah, well, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's the last one. I mean, Lincoln out. Honestly, I've just been so frustrated these last couple of weeks. Seriously, I've never known. I am seriously frustrated, and I'm not. Listen, I'm not going to brush things under a carpet. I'm not going to come on this show and start telling people, "Oh, it's this, it's fantastic. We've done well pre-season. Lads are working hard. We've done this, done that." I'm not. I'm going to tell it as it is because that's what I'm about.
That's what.
And anybody that's out there that's turning round and comes out with, like, I'm not being funny. Meatball, he was first one. So Meatball watched us at Campion. He's witnessed everything that went on at Campion. He's having a conversation with me day after, 2 days later, and he says to me, but at the end of it, he says, "Not to worry, Brent, we'll be right next week when season kicks off." He said, and I've gone, so I've gone,
am I hearing that?
I said, am I hearing that right? So you think that next week is going to change anything from this week when we haven't got our players back? When we haven't got our players back, you really think that? Is that what you think? And then you get somebody else, and I'm not mentioning because he's worked really hard, the person I'm talking about, and he has worked hard this summer. We've had a lot of time wasters up here, but this person, Andrew Knights, has really, really worked hard. He spent 3 hours here. I was going mad last week about the patio, saying, Lincoln Eckers, we renamed the patio to Jungle Gyms.
Jungle Gyms were at Blackpool Tower, weren't it?
It were at Lincoln Bacup Borough last week because it was a good job it were raining because nobody had been sat on patio because they wouldn't have gone on it, been able to see game for Lincoln high weeds and everything that were coming up out of the garden.
Bear Grylls is living in there somewhere.
Well, I tell you what, seriously, so fair cop to Andrew Knights. He came up and he's got on with it because we've been let down again by Pinky and Lincoln Perky. You know, I think Perky, whichever one you decide is Perky. I think he run a mile. He hasn't been anywhere near that garden since he saw Lincoln out of the overgrowth of the weeds. He saw a rat running out. So he hasn't been anywhere near the place since.
That's one of the family at Bacup. There's plenty of rats, isn't
there?
There's
loads of them. There's rats, there's badgers, there's foxes. What do you want? But they're tame enough. If you go and feed them, they'll have your finger end and a bit of cheese as well.
I've got that written on my notepad. Volunteers, you were talking about it off air. Said it's been you've had good ones, and we're, it's just difficult at times.
It is, and let me tell you, right. So what I don't get my head around here is that if somebody's offered you or there's a position going anywhere, whether it be at any club or whatever, before you throw your hat in the ring or think about it, surely to goodness you've got to weigh everything up. One thing's a stonewall certainty with me. I sit down with people. Where do we want to start? So we'll talk about the goalkeeping coach, right? So I get a message from an aspiring goalkeeping coach that wants to get involved at Bacup Borough, this goalkeeping coach. So I have a meeting with him, a time to come up. We sit down. I ask where he's from, all the the relevant details. What's his credentials, everything else. Where's he been working? What's he been doing? And then I go on and tell him what it entails here. And if he's around the first team, right, there's got to be committed. You've got to be at training. You've got to work one-to-one with our goalkeepers. You know, on a match day, you've got to travel with the first team. And on a match day, you've got to take control of the first team keeper. That is your remit. But, you know, games will come thick and fast. You know, we'll be playing Saturday midweek, you know, pretty well for the beginning of the season. Maybe right up to, who knows, right up to October, even Christmas, right? That's the way it'll be. So you lay your cards on the table and then you say, go away and think about it and then let me know what your thoughts are. So they come back, yeah, I'm ready to go. Absolutely fantastic, ready to go. So he works, looks like he's doing a good job, does all right. And then next thing, one of the training sessions, he ducks. But he sends me a text message and said, I have this junior coaching session and one of the coaches that were covering for me hasn't turned in. So I've had to do that. So, okay, it's only training, all right. So for a one-off, that's okay. And then they were travelling up to Bradford on Tuesday. I get another text message off him. Oh, I don't think I can make this Bradford game on Tuesday because one of my I've got coaching sessions and one of my coaches has let me down again. So I'm going to have to cover that. I don't know whether I can commit to this job because obviously I'm hitting these issues are happening and it's not fair on you or the club or the goalkeeper. And I'm thinking, why did you take the job in the first place? You must have known what, you know, are you blinkered? Are you blindfolded? Correct. Are you fake or what? You know, think about it. Obviously, if you've got a little business that you're trying to work with, we young kids and everything. Unless that runs itself and you've got the coaches that you can do and the backup you can rely on, then you can't jump in bed with a club like Bacup Borough. It's impossible. So I'm thinking, what the blinking X that? So if that weren't bad enough, the next thing I'd sorted the steward job out, like Rami. It's in the Cray twins walking around. Did you see them with the jackets on?
They look smart.
They did, yeah. Cray twins, I've nicknamed them. So they're walking around. Next thing, I get a text message off one of them. I don't think I can commit to this job, Brent, because I've looked at the fixtures and you're at home this day and that day and that day and that day, and I've got to go into hospital for this and I've got to do that, and I'm running under 15s, and I don't think I can commit. I'm really sorry. I'm like, I think, why have you took the job in first place then? If you can't commit. So all that's done, week before the season's put me under pressure. Pressure I don't need. Because obviously my forte is with the team, not blinking trying to go and blinking get a couple of blinking crate wings on here with blinking Ivy's jackets.
So you think you win in 1 minute and then next week you're down.
Exactly. You know, you think what's going on? It's like ridiculous. And then next thing is, I knew our physio had just come on board and he were working at police, but he said, I've looked at my shifts and I'm okay. Then next thing I get is I can help you, I can commit, but unfortunately I can't do every game. Will I be able to share it with somebody? Well, that's no good to us sharing it with somebody. Lads need to know they're dealing with all the time. You get what I'm saying?
It's a massive commitment, is the physio.
And it's on the payroll, is the physio, they get paid for it. Yeah. So I'm thinking, why are we attracting absolute frigging complete, what seems to me, empty heads?
As you used to say, don't come to the club if you're one of these that's going to get MPEC'd off your missus.
Well, yeah, exactly. You've got to understand what it's not amateur football. There's a lot of commitment goes in with it. And if you're not that way inclined and that way cut out, it's not for you. So you shouldn't take it in the first place. Don't come in and then there's announcements on social media and everything else. And then you're here today, gone tomorrow. What's that all about?
No.
But it's pathetic, honestly. And it's so frustrating. It winds me up, honestly. Just winds me to the top.
So and then we're now on the lookout, are we? Let's take it. We're on the lookout for a physio and a goalkeeping coach.
Physio, goalkeeping coach, prolific strikers,
and a prolific
prolific strikers. Yeah, exactly. So if you're out there, you want to give it a go, and you know where the onion bag is, you better get yourself here quick. And a couple of crate wins. We need a crate wins as well on the ground.
What, both of them? We need two or just one?
No, we need. Well, I reckon they should go around in pairs, don't you? Really, they need to be in pairs. Yeah,
I think we've got one though, haven't we?
Well, I haven't heard from the other one, but one it was his brother, weren't it? So, if they were twins, they'd be joined together.
Danny DeVito and bloody Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So listen, you've got to laugh, haven't you? If you didn't laugh, you'd bleeding cry.
It's Bacon, mate.
Seriously, going back to the Campion game, I watched that game there, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Seriously, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Talk about frustration, and I'm not going to name names. I mean, it's a shame that you mentioned one of them because
I did, because the week before I thought he settled in really well against Rami, who gives us a stern test.
He did. Look, he will be a good player, but one thing he'll soon understand and understand
simple,
quick.
Son.
Don't listen. Listen. You've got to be able to pass a ball from A to B, and then pass a ball from B to C, and then pass a ball from C to D. And if you've got to go from D back to C, then you've got to be able to get it there and pass it. You can't pass it from A to blinking their B.
Yeah. Don't try and be Franco Baresi.
And especially in the position, you can't do it. But then further up the pitch, I mean, listen, if we broke every goal down and you could break them down, we've gifted it. You know, I read something on social media about, no disrespect to Campion, listen, let them go and enjoy the fact that they beat Bacup and scored 5. What a great performance. But my friends over there, don't judge your team on that performance, because Bacup were absolutely blinking dire. Dire. Seriously. And if you break it down, I mean, deja vu, 2 games. So it's probably going to happen tomorrow. I hope it does, because they say they come in 3s, right? So let us concede a penalty early doors and get rid of it. It's got to go, right? Because last week against Ramsbottom, 7 minutes in, concede a penalty. You know, what's that all about? I mean, all right, it were a free kick, I get it, but it were never inside the box. So we're back to these officials. But then 12 minutes in on Tuesday night, penalty again. I couldn't believe it. You know, thinking penalty, and it were a penalty because there's a ball. The lad's coming up to attack the ball, and one of our players, and I'm not going to mention his name, has gone to try and clear it and caught the lad. It's a penalty all day long. Stupid.
But we've got to remain positive, because there are going to be some players who are going to get they're going to get a chance to play next week in that first league game.
Well, we are positive. I'm being as positive as I can. End of the day, they need to blink and smell the coffee, and bloody quick. That means tomorrow. There's nothing else to come. Seriously, honestly, I am not going to come on this show and tell you or the listeners, and then when they see it for themselves and go, what's going on? Anybody who was there, anybody who's listening to this show who was there the other night will know I am 150% correct, because it was just ridiculous. You can't believe it. And 2 of the goals that one of the players who's been a regular in our first team, I mean, he's held his hand up for doing it. At least I'll give him credit there. But you wouldn't expect an under 10 in the positions that he was in. An under 10 wouldn't have done what he did. And it led to 2 goals. So strike the penalty off, strike 2 goals off, then 2 goals that normally he would not have done and probably won't do again. So let's hope that's out of his system, right? Because he won't do it again, right? So that's straight away, that's 3 goals out of the 5. So we're now getting to a respectable scoreline. And one of the goals that they scored ended up being a free header. Well, I'm not being funny. If your centre half, if your defenders has been allocated the jobs on set pieces to mark, then bloody well mark. Don't let somebody have a free header. It's simple. It's not hard in the game. It's not hard. It's there. Mark. You know, the guy's got a free header. Why has he got a free header? But he's got a free header. But honestly, and I wish I could be positive from that game. And if that had an insult to injury, I've come back. I've gone Edin Bridge way, no problem. Over the tops, no problem. Comes back over the top. Scott drops down into Edin Bridge. You know what Edin Bridge is like.
Yeah.
There's a diversion. I couldn't get to others. I could see where I needed to be. Road shut.
So how did you get home?
So I've gone to the I've gone to the workers. How do I get over there now? Because you know what it's like. Edin Bridge. There's only one way in and one way out.
Yeah, exactly.
He said you've got to drive back 3 miles back that way, back towards Halifax, and then go over at Tops. I ended up going over at Tops right round, and we ended up dropping down onto Lincoln Littleborough, down past Summit, and through Littleborough and back through Todmorden. So
what time did you get home? Breakfast?
I don't know, right? 12:20, I think. Lincoln to Campion, 12:20. But one thing listen, thanks to Campion for their hospitality, fantastic hospitality. You know, I enjoy going there. I wouldn't say that the team, I'll say what I told the lads in the change room, just an average side. They were an average side. Worked hard, typical Campion. They play exactly the same way as they played last year against us in the Vars. Direct. Yeah, exactly the same. But the team we had to put out on Tuesday just couldn't handle it. Well, that's being a bit disrespectful. Yeah, they could handle it, but they were doing situations. That I can't explain it. Just giving the ball away. I'm giving the ball away in bad areas, and then wonder why. This is another one, and they learn quick, and then wonder why they get the wrath of me. You think I'm gonna see? I'll see the first inside ball they give away, and it's a shot at the goalkeeper. I'll see the second inside ball that they give away, and it's a shot at the goalkeeper. But when it comes to the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, I'm jumping out that technical area saying, freaking hell, stop these inside balls. You follow me?
Yeah, exactly.
It was madness.
Anything more to add, Brent?
No, not really. Anything else? New glasses. Oh, shit. New glasses, have you noticed?
Yeah, new frames.
Them other glasses, by the way, were not mine that I kept wearing. I once found them on the bar.
Who were they, Jack Duckworths?
I haven't got a clue, but I couldn't blinking see, so I put these on. I thought, are these my glasses? And I could see better, so I put them on.
Ariel's dad.
There you go. And on another front, when I come off this air, I'm picking a new car up. So,
are you?
Yeah.
Well, what's wrong with you? You've only had that 12 months, that one.
I get fed up after 12 months, me. 18 months, always.
It's not big enough, though, for you. It's not big enough.
It's not big enough for football. So, yeah, I've got to go to Blackburn immediately. I come off this show.
Brilliant.
But, yeah. So, there we go. So, that's where we're at. That's where, hopefully, tomorrow we'll have a good crowd on here. Be able to see some two terrific, what were terrific professionals in the time who are ex-pros in Lee Trundle, Andy Robinson. They'll be able to see one thing for Stonewall certainly that they will see is our cup final back four. So
yeah,
at least we've got something going for us.
And cracking hospitality.
Cracking hospitality. And I'll say this again, the result doesn't matter. It's about the performance. And hopefully the lads will come in and do the badge proud tomorrow, hopefully. And
a big shout out to Terry's Cult for making it all happen. Of course, partners of both sides. And if you can't make the trip up from South Wales tomorrow, then you can listen to the full match commentary, and that's available on the Facebook Live and on Twitter as well at Bakerborough FC. So tune in from 2:45 onwards, for myself and Andrew Knights. See you tomorrow, Brent.
Cheers, pal. See you later.
Bye.